Hi everyone, Dr. Carolyn here. And today we're going to be talking about a question that I get a lot. And we talked about it in the last video, which is, do I have to be thin or thinner in order to be healthy? So this is part 2 of that conversation. I hope part 1 was helpful. Hope you're staying safe wherever you are and keeping cool. It's pretty hot all over the globe. I've talked to people in Ireland this past week, Canada, and everybody's struggling under the heat. So let's get started. So last week, as I mentioned, I talked to you about the concept of what we call healthism. And that's a new term being applied to the notion that you have to be thin, or as some people are now saying, thinner, to be healthy. So there's a recognition that maybe I won't end up being thin, but if I can just be thinner, then that will make me healthy. And I hope that the last video resonated with you and that you'll continue to question and explore this area. And I put some links in the show notes about some of the research or some of the different ways that you could look at this issue. So the issue being the health risk of being in a larger body. But the truth of the matter is, as Dr. Lindo Bacon said some time ago, we've lost the war on obesity, and I'm going to use the O word as she did those many years ago when she was talking about the fact that this war that has been waged on trying to get people to all be of a similar size it has cost us a lot. So in her book, Health at Every Size, Dr. Bacon says, fighting fat hasn't made the fat go away. And being thinner, even if we knew how to successfully accomplish that, will not necessarily make us healthier or happier. And she goes on to say that there's been extensive collateral damage that's resulted from this approach of trying to get people to be thin or thinner in order to supposedly be healthier. And finally, Dr. Bacon says food and body preoccupation, self-hatred, eating disorders, weight stigma, and poor health are all collateral damage from the war on obesity. And few of us are at peace with our bodies, whether because we're fat or because we're afraid of becoming fat. So that's the world we're living in right now, where people are either trying to get thin or thinner, or on the other side, people are afraid of getting fat. So where does that leave you if you really want to sincerely improve your overall health? Well, I would suggest that it could lead you to making peace with food and with your body, because we know from lots of research that that's possible to be healthy no matter your size. I'm particularly fond of Tracy Mann's book, Secrets from the Eating Lab, and you can find that at bookstores all over. Secrets from the Eating Lab. In that book, Tracy Mann talks about the fact that exercise lowers your health risk even without changing your size, even without changing the number on the scale. And secondly, people who are active, no matter what their size is, have lower rates of sickness and death than those who are thin or thinner and not active. So that's one of the things we can refocus on rather than preparing ourselves for yet another fad diet that's not going to work, is to focus on what we do know, which is that being active, no matter your size, helps you. And by being active, I'm not talking about punishing your body like you have done to try to lose weight. I'm talking about just moving your body in ways that you like, whether it be dancing, walking, swimming, playing with your kids, whatever you like to do with your body, but not in the service of either punishing yourself because you've overeaten or trying to whip your body into shape. So that's a different mindset. And I hope you're hearing me about that. So all of this knowledge could definitely help you make peace with food and with your body, because it can enable you and empower you to find the root cause of your problems with food and your body, which often has to do with toxic stress or adversity in childhood. That could be abuse, neglect, having household dysfunction, like living in families struggling with addiction or mental illness, maybe having a family member who's been incarcerated, witnessing domestic violence, etc. So research from the Adverse Childhood Experiences study demonstrates that the true causes of diabetes, cancer, heart disease, and other chronic diseases may be related to your childhood experiences. So the causes actually started in childhood, even though they didn't show up until later. And I'm not going to, in this conversation, I'm not going to talk about intergenerational trauma, other than to let you know that I've put a link in the show notes about TEDx talk on intergenerational trauma. But we know that trauma that's been passed from one generation to children and grandchildren can also increase your risk for chronic health diseases, include health issues like the ones we mentioned, and are also linked to uh, greater size or obesity as defined by body mass index. So but the bottom line is, getting thin or thinner won't fix these childhood experiences. So think about that for a moment, that many of us, many women in the United States, have been chasing a solution to the problem of what they call their weight as the problem. And the solution has been to quote unquote lose weight or become thin or thinner, when in point of fact, that's not going to fix the underlying cause of why you have problems with food and body image, because the underlying cause is something that probably started in your childhood or early adulthood. So getting thin or thinner won't fix your childhood experiences, but healing from these experiences can give you help with food addiction, freedom from emotional eating, and less food obsessions and from food addiction. So if you're struggling with any of those issues, if you really want to overcome binge eating, if you really want to get help with food addiction or get freedom from emotional eating, you have to dig a little bit deeper than the surface. On the surface, everything looks like it's about the number on the scale. But when you look deeper, you can realize that beneath that number on the scale are emotions that are driving your eating behaviors. There are also core beliefs that have come about as a result of your childhood experiences. Beliefs such as, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, no one will love me unless fill in the blanks, I'm weak, I'm a terrible person. These negative beliefs lead to negative self-talk, and then that negative self-talk causes emotions that then drive our eating behaviors. We don't want to think those thoughts, and so we push them down with food. We don't want to feel those feelings, and so we push them down and numb ourselves with food. So a diet is not going to fix this root cause, and we do need to go a little deeper. So if you're ready to stop contributing your hard-earned money to the $65 billion diet industry that promotes diets and puts you on this endless, know you're going to fail diet treadmill that just makes you feel worse about yourself, I'm happy to give you a free consult to discuss another approach. As I've mentioned many times, the Anchor program is a non-diet online program with food addiction, emotional eating, starting soon. Don't miss out on your big opportunity to make long-lasting changes. I hope this has been helpful, and I look forward to talking with you next time.